Live from Columbia, South Carolina, WIS News 10 starts with First Alert Weather.
All right, I'm First Alert meteorologist Vaughn Gaskin, going ahead and giving you an update on what's going on with Debby. As of right now, we're still tracking the tropical system, still holding steady with winds at about 60 miles per hour. You can clearly see that we're not seeing a whole lot in the way of movement here. As we see what's going on with Debby, you can see that the tropical storm has winds of about 60 miles per hour here. Movement is to the north at 3 miles per hour, and it is now hovering about 60 miles off, about 40 miles offshore. So for now, it's just still a slow mover. It's still kind of standing and it's not moving very much. We're at about 3 miles per hour for the overall movement. And again, the winds inside of the system still holding steady at about 60 miles per hour. So that's within the core of the system. That means they're finding winds within the system of 60 miles per hour. They expect it to intensify through the course of the night to start to increase and find some winds of 65 miles per hour before it makes that all-important landfall in South Carolina. When that happens, we're expecting it then to continue to pull in the moisture that we're seeing in play. It's going to continue to lift to the north, moving through the PD, weakening as it does, getting down to winds of about 45 miles per hour as it moves across those border belt states, border belt counties and into North Carolina, and then lifting north from that point and then weakening and finally speeding off to the north and to the east. So before we get to that point, what's going on around here? First things first, we do have several issues with our river flooding. That's probably one of our main events around here. The river flooding has been a big issue. We are seeing problems at the Wateree River, Congaree, and into the Edisto River, some of our main rivers in this area. So when we're not talking about the river flooding, another high impact area will be our flash flooding. We still have some flash flood warnings going on. The only one that's still in our area, the flash flood warning, stays until 9:45, and this is for parts of Clarendon, Orangeburg, and Sumter counties. So that's the deeper green color that you see here. Kind of they like to put it in more of an octagon shape. So that's the one we're seeing there. Of course, when you start to move into Williamsburg County, you're seeing another one there, but still holding steady to that flash flood warning right in that main event area. Gotta say, that's probably the area for us that has had the highest rain totals thus far. As for the flood watch, still in place for all the counties in the green, that stays with us until 8 o'clock Friday morning. So through tomorrow and into first thing Friday morning. So here we are looking at the watches and warnings again. So remember, this is the area that we're seeing that flash flood warning on. This has just been a very, very thick, heavy line that's been almost sitting over parts of Orangeburg, Manning, and Sumter counties for a good bit of the evening and the afternoon. That area has been inundated with heavy rain, and over the last couple of hours, it has taken on a large amount. We'll take a look at some of those numbers coming up here pretty soon. But that flood watch in place for everyone. But again, when you start to see these deeper green colors, that means a flash flood warning is coming down, and that means it's happening right now. That heavy rain is falling. So the first alert radar now, we're back to it. This is what's going on right now at this very moment. And you notice the waves of energy still pushing through, still coming in off of the ocean. Upon closer inspection, here's Manning. You're actually starting to clear out of some of this while it's starting to finally shift over a little bit, moving over to 601, Lone Star, Ellery, Cameron, St. Matthews, and into Pinewood. So that's the area now seeing the heaviest rain coming in from the outer edges of Debby. That northern part of it, near Dalzell, Shaw Air Force Base, Eastover, Bishopville, into Lee County, that's that northern line. It's all one big line, and it is almost directly connected to the ocean for that counterclockwise spin that's coming in around Debby. So that's why it's producing so much rain in a short amount of time, because we're still seeing it pulling that direct connection from the ocean. You can see it here, that center of circulation, like I said, hovering about 40 miles offshore, and it's just pulling in this energy, these showers and storms, and we're slowly starting to watch that counterclockwise action. Now, it is going to be shifting inland. We know that, but we're starting looking to also see a little bit of dry air starting to come in from the west. So that's what we're seeing a little bit of here, a little bit of drying starting to happen on that northern part there. So that's going to be that area. That's that wraparound moisture. Yes, we do see it picking up energy from the ocean, but we also have to think about the fact that it does have to contend with dry air being pulled into it too. So it's not completely turning back into a fully well-developed tropical system, but it is still packing a punch. But we are slowly starting to see those differences and those changes as we look at that wind starting to come around from the north. So the area is starting to see a little bit of drier air starting to work in towards Lexington now, Aiken, and Barnwell. You're still under that lull or that bit of clearing that we were seeing for most of the day today. So it's still taking a little while for the energy that's around that center of circulation to work back over and to work back in for you. For now, Sumter, you're seeing wind speeds of 27 miles per hour, 26 for you in St. Matthews, and 25 in Orangeburg. And these are winds coming in from the north and the northeast, coming in at that 25, 26 mile per hour range. And you think about it, the center is still 40 miles offshore. So once that center of circulation gets closer, these numbers are more than likely expected to go up. We're now looking at just from the past 12 hours. So the numbers we've gotten from the past 12 hours, the areas, so let's just say from today, the daylight hours of today, Sumter, Manning, Orangeburg, over towards Santee, Holly Hill, and Bowman, you all have seen upwards of 3 to 5 inches through the course of the daylight hours today. So that's just what we're seeing from today. Also seeing those very high numbers in that 3 to 5 inch range right along the border belt counties. This is the area getting hit hardest today, and that is north of Myrtle Beach in the PD Grand Strand area. So what I've also done is gone ahead and put on some of the event totals. So this is for the entire time that we have been tracking Debbie since it made the landfall in Florida and since it's been slowly inching its way up. And so for areas like Charleston and down near Hilton Head, Savannah, those areas are at that 12 to 13 inch mark, so over a foot there. And then we come away from that center area near Charleston and the numbers start to come down. So Orangeburg, you're at that 7 to 7.5 inch mark. I'm not surprised by those numbers. We then start to see those numbers as high as 6 inches for us in southern Richland and Lexington counties. That is a big area that saw a lot of that energy early on, and you got that nice little break for a good portion of the day and even got to see some sunshine. So in southern Richland County and Lexington County, but you still have areas in northern Bamberg and over near Aiken County that took on about 5 to 5.5 inches there as well. And then the lower numbers go up to the north. There are some areas like up towards the upstate that did not break the 1 inch mark. So we certainly have a wide range of numbers in terms of how much rain fell. So this is what's going on now. We're still watching the current radar. This is where it is right now. So Debbie, center of circulation off the coast here, starting to move inland. I expect it to make a complete landfall probably around midnight, maybe just before or just after, but it'll be around midnight. But regardless, all of the moisture that you see cycling in from Wilmington and Florence, all of that is being fueled and funneled right on into the Midlands. So Camden and Sumter, you guys expect this to be a long night for you as the rain continues to steadily fall. We've done some updates here. So with our excessive rainfall, the risk for us as we continue through the rest of this day and into about midday tomorrow, it still takes the brunt of it, the high area over towards Myrtle Beach, PD, Grand Strand area. Then coming away from there, you get that lower risk, that moderate risk, which means you could still have some flash flooding, but not quite as many issues as you're going to have in that high area. And that's what we're seeing now as we do have our flash flood warning in place for parts of Sumter, Clarendon, and southern Orangeburg County. So they actually have one in place for us right now, and that's an area that'll probably be under the gun into first thing tomorrow morning. That slight area, meaning you're probably not going to see one, but we're just going to keep our eyes on you just in case a stronger storm rolls through your general area. Those severe weather risks, like I said, the river flooding, we covered that at the beginning. It's high. And then just overall flooding, flash flooding, we're seeing that in the high category as well. The strong winds, that's elevated, and that's going to start to, I guess, go to the front of the list, if you will, when we get into tomorrow morning, because right now we are seeing wind gusts at that 25, 26, and 27 mile per hour range. It could go as high as 30, 35, and 40 by early tomorrow morning. Tornado, the risk for us here in the Midlands is still low just because we're not going to be on that forward right side. Now, we are going to see some of our counties on a little bit of that forward side, but that right front side is the side that we're really concerned about. And it looks like that stays closer to the PD and then moves into North Carolina before it really makes a big impact on our forecast. With all of that being said, we still have a chance to see at least about another 5 inches of rain here in some areas. For the Central Midlands, for Lexington and Richland counties, we've taken you all down to probably about 1 to 3 inches. You're in that purple range, that blue to purple range, which is our lower range. Start getting into that red, you're looking at about 2 to 5 inches, and that's probably over in Lee and Sumter counties. You guys could probably still see another 2 to 5 inches based on what's there now, the flash flood warning, and the fact that there is more to come. But once we finally get it to move on shore, we're going to see a little bit more movement, and a lot of that will happen tomorrow morning. So far, through the course of the day today, the highest wind gust has been 32 miles per hour in Saluda and Aiken, 30 in Lexington, 25 in downtown Columbia, and 26 in St. Matthews. So what's to come? I will have to say that these numbers are a little bit higher than they probably should be, but they are doing a great job of showing us how that counterclockwise flow around the center of circulation will continue to progressively bring in those higher winds as we get to daybreak. So this is about 2 a.m. This would be the time frame that we're seeing the center of circulation move onshore. And so at that point, we're starting to see these winds really pick up in areas like Bishopville, Chesterfield, Camden, and then Columbia. You start to get into the overnight hours. That movement continues inland, and then we start to see those higher wind gusts moving into Chester and Winnsboro. Lexington, you get in on it by 5 a.m. Winds coming in out of the north, and that wraparound moisture continues as that center of circulation moves towards North Carolina. We still keep breezy northern winds in here with wet, soggy conditions. That means if your ground has been saturated and inundated, remember to watch those trees. They could start falling first thing tomorrow morning. We continue this pattern into just after lunchtime. This is about 2 o'clock. We're still tracking a few showers in areas like Camden, Winnsboro, and Lancaster in our northern tier, and then it begins to lift up. But you're still getting that wind. You're still getting breezy conditions. Even as we start to get some peekaboo sunshine during the day tomorrow, it's still going to be windy. And finally, by Friday, we get enough dry air sucking in here that we finally get to take it all out of here. We put drier air back in the forecast, but I do have to caution you, we will still have a chance of late day showers and storms. This isn't one of those tropical systems where oftentimes it'll come through and it'll just suck out all the moisture and you'll have 4 or 5 days of just good sunshine behind a tropical system. This one actually comes with another system that's coming in that will give us a chance of late day showers and storms as we head through the upcoming weekend. All right, your first alert 10-day forecast is showing that tomorrow we're still going to be under the gun from Debbie, and it is a first alert weather day. We're tracking 78 degrees for you there. 94 as we head into your Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday 92 for you, 88 for you into Sunday and Monday. Those upper 80s. Again, we return to normal in terms of our forecast with heat and humidity during the day and late day pop-up showers and storms. That does it for now for your Debbie update. We'll continue to give you updates and we'll be back live at 10 o'clock.